this is going to be a quick tutorial in using a risk framework based off of earnings announcements. The risk framework takes your algorithm, screens all stocks in the tradable universe, figures out which stocks have an earnings announcement X days ahead, and which stocks have had an earnings announcement X days previous, and it avoids those securities entirely. The reason behind that being earnings announcements tend to be pretty volatile events for individual securities, and the more that you can stay out of those volatile times, the less volatility, the less drawdown, and possibly the higher Sharpe your algorithm is going to have. So let's get started. First, you want to go to Quantopian data, which is over here. You click that, and in the search bar, you can type in earnings calendar. And the first thing that pops up is this earnings calendar data set from Investor. If you click that, it takes you to the home page where you can see the full details on what the data looks like, how long of a time period you have the free sample data for, as well as the price for the premium data set. Just quickly going over use cases, you can see in the how to use section in the left hand side over here. There are two ways for you to import the data. One is for the IDE and one is for research. In the IDE, you can import it through the new pipeline API. We have both the raw data, which gives you a date time for each data set, or you have a built-in factor which has automatically computed the business days until next earnings as well as the business days since previous earnings. But if you just want to play around with this data set in the research environment, you can do that down here by importing it from quantopian.interactive.data. Now, the key metrics that you'll find in the raw data set is the as of date, so when Investor actually captured that event, as well as the date of the earnings announcement, as well as the calendar time, which is the earnings release time, if it's before or after market hours or other. You can see down here that if you guys are using the free sample version, the free data availability starts from 07 in January and goes all the way up till 2014. So it's a pretty sizable data set for you guys to be doing your back testing on. And obviously for the full version, which is only $5 a month, you can have the full data set ongoing for use in your contest and your live algorithms. And if you want to get started on that, you can go ahead and hit the get full data set over here. But if you're just trying to play around with the framework in general, you can go ahead and get started at the help section of Quantopian. So just go into help and hit help and API docs. And on the left hand side screen over here, if you scroll down in the different sections that you have, you're going to see a section for the earnings risk framework. So this earnings risk framework is kind of the bare bones way for you to get started with using the framework that we're talking about right here. You can see that both the free and paid versions will be accessed through the same namespace. So you don't really have to do anything, whether you're a premium subscriber or a free member. It's really easy for you to use. And you can see down here, if you take a look at the code, what it's going to do is it's automatically going to set up the screens for you. So if you just clone this and ran this, any security that you'd get back in your universe would not have an earnings announcement. So it's really simple to set up, and it's kind of a no-brainer way for you to get started. So let's try cloning that, and you'll see that you have the algorithm over here. And for the sake of this simple tutorial, I'm just going to run this and show you guys the output of what you're going to get, what kind of securities that you're going to get. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to take just a few seconds for pipeline to get set up. Just a quick primer on pipeline if you guys haven't seen that before. It's an awesome API that actually lets you screen all 8,000 securities per day for any kind of factor or filter calculation that you want to do. For example, if you want to find the average volatility of each security for the past 30 days and filter that down by and rank that down by the top 25% most volatile securities and the bottom 25% least volatile securities. Pipeline makes it really, really easy for you to do that, and we have awesome tutorials in our community section for you to do just that. But let's take a look at the right hand side over here just to give you an idea of what you're getting. So you can notice that I'm only logging the first 5 securities of my universe every day, and you can see that for each security we get the next earnings date. So next here for AA shows that it's 2011 and January 1st, the 10th of January 1st in 2011, and the current date when we logged this was January 4th. So we have an earnings announcement 6 days ahead. That's pretty typical. You're also going to see a few NaN values. And the reason that you're seeing NaN values is that we typically don't get the actual date for an earnings announcement up until about 15 days before it actually happens. So if you see NaN, you can be pretty confident in saying that there's an earnings announcement way far ahead and I don't really need to worry about that. You can see after that we have the previous earnings announcement. So when was the last earnings announcement for AA? And that was on October 7th in 2010, and that was 63 business days previous to this. And you can see over here we have that same kind of business days factor for next earnings down here. So if you're writing any algorithm with this framework in mind, you kind of don't need to worry about earnings announcements anymore because it's kind of already filtered out, and any universe that you're getting back is not going to contain any securities with a volatile event that could possibly throw off the economic hypothesis behind your algorithm. So that's just a quick tutorial on how to get started with this earnings risk framework. If you have any questions, you can email me at slee@quantopian.com, and we have a couple community threads going out for that, so feel free to get at me there as well. So